On Wednesday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott assailed the Biden administration and pledged to double down on busing border crossing migrants to Washington, D.C. and New York. Bragging that he took the border to Joe Biden, Abbott, who was running for re-election against Beto O'Rourke, said that he was not done sending migrants into blue cities up north. In a move that earned him the ire of the federal government and mayors Muriel Bowser and Eric Adams, Abbott has sent thousands of migrants by bus from the border. Abbott claims it's his way of showing Democratic politicians the real-world results of illegal immigration that Texas has to deal with. He has been accused of using migrants as human pawns in a partisan political battle. In his remarks, Abbott not only pledged to send migrants to D.C. and New York, but that other cities were on his list.
President Biden has abandoned his oath of office. And here's what we need to do. When we win these elections and when Republicans take over Congress, the first thing they need to do is to fire Nancy Pelosi. The second thing they need to do is to impeach the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. The third thing they need to do is to reimburse the state of Texas for all the money that we are incurring to do and then they need to make sure that the only budget that Joe Biden gets is going to be a budget that fully funds Border Patrol, fully funds ICE, fully funds building the border wall, and doing the federal government's job to secure our border. I know that y'all are happy about what we're doing on the border because we have National Guard who are turning back and repelling people from coming across the border. Those who make it past the National Guard, we have Texas Department of Public Safety officers arresting them. And we're also building barriers, whether it be the wall that we're building today or the razor wire that we put up to prevent people from coming in. But as you probably noticed on watching on TV, there are a lot of people coming in and they go directly to land that is owned or occupied or controlled by the federal government. And what the federal government does, they have the Border Patrol process the papers of the people coming across the border, and then they're dumping them off into small communities like Del Rio, Texas. Well, I was down there months ago, actually back in April, and I was in a meeting in a room about this size with had mayors and sheriffs and county judges and other folks that were having to deal with all these migrants who were being dumped in their communities they had no way of dealing with. And one of them offered up an idea. They said they're going to start busing them to San Antonio, Texas. I said, don't do that. I got a better idea. Let me take charge of this situation. The next week, we begin busing them to Washington, D.C. So during the entirety of Joe Biden's presidency, not once has he bothered himself to come to the border and see the crisis that he himself created. So I decided I'm going to take the border to Joe Biden in Washington, D.C. And suddenly, after bus after bus after bus, Mayor Bowser in Washington, D.C. said they cannot handle this. And they were calling on the National Guard in Washington, D.C. and they were begging the president for help, which he's declined every single time. But it shows that they're dealing with a trickle of what we deal with every single day and are incapable of handling it. And then we were only busing people to Washington, D.C., and out of literally nowhere, for no reason, the mayor of New York started criticizing me for busing people to New York City. And that continued for a week, and we denied that we were ever busing people there, but he would not stop criticizing me for it. And so I thought, you know what? If I'm going to take the criticism, I'm going to take the credit. So we're showing America, actually showing the world, what's going on with the illegal immigration crisis because we have inundated New York City with these illegal migrants, and they cannot deal with it whatsoever. New York City obviously is the home of the media world, and whereas before it was only Fox News that was covering this, now every news channel has to cover this, and they are seeing the chaos that has been caused by the Biden administration. Well, I got news for New York. I got news for Washington, D.C., as well as the rest of the country. We are not done yet. There are more cities on our list, and we will keep those justice going. And let me just close with this. I'm going to close the same way that we began. If you can recall the first thing that you did after I spoke to you, you said you were proud to be an American, and you are. And I know that some of you that may even be more proud to be a Texan than an American. But here's what we need to understand. There are people in this state that do not feel that way. There are people in this state who do not believe that America is the greatest country in the history of the world. We see that in part by what some schools are allowing to be taught in their schools with regard to this critical race theory, where they are using their school program to teach students to view each other through the lens of race. Well, that's contrary to what Martin Luther King Jr. taught us. And that is, we're not to be judged by the color of our skin. We're to be judged by the content of our character in the United States of America. Well, I signed 2 laws this past session and special session that bans critical race theory in every subject, in every grade, in every public school across the entire state of Texas. And let me be clear, we will not use your taxpayer dollars to fund our schools, to teach our students to hate each other or to hate our country. We need to be educating our students exactly why and how the United States of America did become the greatest country in the history of the world. That's what we're going to support. And I want to thank you for being a part of that, because we will not allow the leftist agenda to hijack this state. And winning that battle begins on November the 8th. We must go vote. We must win. We must keep Texas, the best state and the greatest nation in the history of the world. God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas.